Hey, and welcome to the Business Pioneer Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Montgomery, founder and CEO of Three Girls Media Inc., an award-winning digital marketing agency. Today, we have a guest whose journey is incredibly inspiring. Cher Hobbick is the founder of Bite Me Catering, LLC, but her path to the culinary world is anything but traditional. With a background as both a CFO and a CEO, Cher built and successfully sold businesses before she retired in her 40s. But instead of settling into retirement, she pursued a new passion, earning an Associate of Science degree in culinary arts at South Puget Sound Community College. And what started as a curiosity about food grew into a really deep love for hospitality, and that led her to establish Bite Me Catering. Cher's approach really isn't just about delicious food. It's about creating meaningful experiences where guests feel valued and celebrated. And whether she's catering weddings or nonprofit galas or dinner parties or even celebrations of life, her team strives to elevate every single event. Cher, welcome to the show.
Erica, thank you so much for having me. And that was a wonderful introduction. You can introduce me anytime.
I'm so glad you approve. So, Cher, tell me about Bite Me Catering and how you got started.
Well, like you said, it was okay. Back up before that. I blame it on NPR, honestly.
Oh,
I was listening to an audio essay, and it was a woman talking about pursuing your passions.
Mhm.
And she said that that's kind of a stiff thing to pursue because your passion kind of starts with curiosity. So I took that really to heart, and I said, well, I've cooked for my family, I've cooked for parties, I've just cooked. And I was very curious about learning the backbone. And here in town at SPSCC, South Puget Sound Community College, they have a affiliate American Culinary Federation affiliated program, 2-year program. And I said, well, I'm curious enough to dedicate a little bit of time. So that's exactly what you said. It started like that. I was just really curious. I did not even know that there were 5 mother sauces until I went to school.
oh,
And then
wow.
you find out there are structures, there are bases, there are ratios with cooking that I never understood before. I could follow a recipe, I could make things up, but I didn't have the learned knowledge of really, if you start with the bechamel, you could do all of these incredible things with it. The hollandaise and a béarnaise is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
All those things I learned, and then one thing leads to another, and here I am. I have a catering company now.
Amazing. So have you always enjoyed cooking from the time you were small, or is that something that developed as you got older?
It developed as I got older. It was just one of those things that you learn to cook a few things. A lot of maybe cream of mushroom or cream of celery soup in my early years. And then it just got, bigger, and you try these things. You tried some New York Times articles. Maybe you subscribe to, Cooks Illustrated, and you try these, fantastic flavor profiles that you would taste in a restaurant. And I never knew I could recreate those flavors at home. And you learn that through learning from some of the best. And then you take that, and one thing leads to another.
Love it. So I have to ask you, what is your favorite thing to cook?
Ooh. Well, am I cooking for somebody or am I cooking for me?
For you.
When my husband is out of town, can I be honest?
Yes.
Really good glass of red wine and toast with really good butter.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes simplicity is the way to go, right?
It has to be like a Kerrygold butter or one of
Yes.
but it really is the toast and the good bread and that's good. That's
Mhm.
good living.
Yeah, give me a loaf of like really crusty sourdough and some Kerrygold butter, and I'm in heaven.
And yes, 100%.
Yeah. I
You
love
can come
cooking
over to dinner
too.
anytime.
Yes, thank you. I love cooking too. I've never had any formal training like you have, obviously, but I consider myself a pretty serious home cook. And so, I love cooking. I love trying new recipes. And so, since I asked you what your favorite thing is to cook for yourself, I have to ask you on the flip side, what is your favorite thing to cook for clients?
Well, if it's like a specialty dinner, I really try to delve down into a new thing that maybe hasn't been tried before. One of my personal dinners, and these are small, like 8 people. It was an egg custard, and I put it in. It was egg custard with a mushroom base, and I
Mm,
put it in a hollowed out egg, and then I've got some of those little tiny mushrooms that look like it was growing out of the top. And that was a delight to prepare. It was a delight to serve, and the flavors were great. And it was something that people hadn't experienced before.
yeah.
So that was really a neat thing. I
That
like that
sounds
one a
like
lot.
so much fun. And did you use like the little enoki mushrooms out of the top of the
Exactly.
egg? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I can picture it in my mind. That had
And
to
it
be
was
so
just so
cool looking.
organic, and it really delighted people when they had it at the table. So
Uh-huh.
that was really fun. And if you're talking about, we serve lasagna bites where I just love them, and we make lasagna bites where you look at them and you gain weight because they're just so full of the bechamel. And we make vegetarian ones too, but we really just make it so like it's just that lasagna where it's just rich and
Mm,
flavorful, fresh herbs. It's fantastic.
yum. Who doesn't love a good lasagna, right?
Right. It's again,
Yeah.
it kind of goes back to the simple stuff.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm curious when a new customer comes to you and they have an event that they'd like catered,
Mhm.
how do you start the conversation in terms of figuring out what you're going to serve?
Well, there's two paths. Some people, we send out menus, of course. So we have
Hmm.
buffet menus, we have those kind of things. And then there's some that really want to have a custom experience.
Hmm.
And we work with them to really create a menu that kind of makes it personal to them.
Hmm.
We've gone so far as even taken some of their recipes and developed them so we could offer, like, in essence, kind of an extension of them and just be their right hand man who cooks food for them.
Yeah, that's
That gives them,
fantastic.
yeah. So the scope of what we do, I mean, we've done sandwiches for 350 people.
Mm.
We've done private dinners. Just the scope. Food is food sometimes. Sometimes you just have to feed 350
Yeah.
people and execute it. And how many boxes is that? How big is the vehicle that's going to be transported in? All that is real. And that's in itself is in its own challenge. And then you have, a group of 8 where you're like, we're going to have a 4-course or 5-course meal, and we're going to have a moose bouche, and we're going to do these things. So we just love it all. It's really fun.
I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. There's no sense being in business for yourself if you don't love and enjoy what you do and you
Exactly.
like going to work. So that's so important. And, I would imagine that sometimes your job has to be challenging because there are so many people with different dietary restrictions. You've got vegetarians and pescatarians and people with, gluten allergies and
Yeah,
peanut allergies and all these different things. I imagine that you are able to cater to all kinds of dietary needs and restrictions.
of course, of course. And those, as you said, those are pretty general. We had a whole dinner that it was a family, so it was a generational or allergy to nickel.
Oh,
And I didn't,
interesting.
I didn't even know that that was a concern. So that
Yeah,
was kind of interesting. We actually sat down with the hostess, and she reviewed all of the menu items and all of the ingredients in the menu items. So we were able to accommodate that as well. So if it's an unusual one, we have to put a little bit more effort. But if it's gluten allergies at this point are standard. You should always
mm,
have gluten. You should always have vegan, dairy free. You should always have, if you're serving like a hors d'oeuvre buffet, you should always have those options so everybody feels welcome. And another
sure.
thing that we do is, I really don't like a little tiny side dish of some vegan dish that only, it kind of makes some vegans feel that they're not included. I would
Yeah.
rather create something that other people would enjoy too, that just happens to be vegan. That's like a main
Mm,
dish. So,
hmm.
and it's not hard. I mean, shoot, a pasta with some fresh vegetables on pasta. Everyone loves that. Turns out it's vegan.
Mhm.
It's not that hard.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. And when you cater for various events, do you just provide the food or do you also provide like the table setting and the serving ware and the glasses and all that kind of stuff?
That's a good question. We've provided all those scope, but our standard contract is you give us the tables. You as a
Okay.
client provide the tables, the
Hmm.
trash. We want hot and cold running water, and we can, as well as a bathroom. So those are
Hmm.
the standard things. We can bring in the tablecloths, everything that is needed to actually eat. So that's the serving, that's the chafers, that's the plates, the napkins, the forks, the to-go boxes if there's leftover. We do try to bring a level of bling to our tables as well. So sometimes it's fresh flowers, sometimes it's some fun things on the charcuterie board that are more structural or architectural design, like little
Hmm.
statues. Or we have a globe. We have those kind of things that just kind of add a little bit of an accent.
Nice. And if someone's interested in working with Bite Me Catering, how far in advance do you recommend that they contact you to book an event?
As early as possible, honestly. And it
Mm.
really comes down to the date. There are
Hmm.
dates in September I'm booked at, but then there are
Oh my
dates in
goodness.
April that I'm available. We do weddings and those kind of things. And, if me and my team are out for a 200-person formal wedding, turns out you could have called me a year in advance. And if that's what I have on my calendar and I have the paperwork and the deposit in hand, I'm not going to tell you yes.
Hmm.
I can't.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
don't want to spread myself so thin or compromise my service or my value that I can bring to my customers.
sure. And I think that's important because, you want to be able to provide the best possible service, the best possible food, and have that attention to detail. And I imagine if you spread yourself too thin and took on too many events on the same day, that wouldn't, be the case and your standards could suffer.
Yeah, and you have to keep, as you know, having a small business, you are your business.
Sure.
So it's you who's suffering when you try to spread yourself too thin or you compromise how you want it to look. I'm not in this to do a so-so job. I want to
Hmm.
do the best I can. And one of the questions that gets asked about, like looking at your competition, and I've learned that I don't look at the I look at inspiring caterers, but to look at the competition, I can only do the best I can, and I'm always striving to do better.
Hmm.
My team is they're challenged to do the best. At the end, if my team goes out and I'm not at a site, we all have a little competition of who can make. We take pictures of our finished displays, and
Oh,
we
nice.
kind of take a internal competition of we kind of get inspired from each other. But we
Hmm.
look to other caterers, maybe outside of market, that more inspire us to
Hmm.
challenge us to be the best we can be.
Fantastic. Now, Bite Me Catering, you're based in Olympia, is that right?
We are. We are.
Okay. So, what geographic area do you serve? How far will you travel for your clients?
Well, everything in Olympia, Tumwater, Lacey, we have complimentary delivery just because it's part of our community and that seems reasonable. We've gone all the way out to the Hoh River, though,
Oh,
in
wow.
the Olympic Peninsula.
Hmm.
It's quite a bit. The delivery charges are quite a bit to go out there, but it's also
Sure.
difficult to find quality caterers out there.
Hmm.
But you're talking about as soon as the staff gets to the kitchen, you have to start paying them. So the drive out there, you're paying the staff to go out there. So it can add a pretty big chunk to your bill, but it's also like you get this beautiful experience in the middle of the woods
Hmm.
or on this remote farm.
Sure.
So we've actually gone quite a ways.
Hmm. Fantastic. Well, it's great to know that you're open to travel because, like you said, some areas, especially those that are more rural, it can be really difficult to find good catering. So it's
Exactly.
great to know that you've got that availability. So how many years have you been in business now, Cher?
On the 19th next week, it's my business's third birthday.
Ah, congratulations.
Thank
Happy early
you.
birthday.
Thank you. We have an event. We were going to try to get together. I was going to try to get my staff together and have a little bit of a party. But
Uh-huh.
now we have an event, which is just fine. That's probably more classic Bite Me style than actually holding a party for itself.
Yeah, I love that. And um on June 6th of this year, Three Girls Media is going to be celebrating our 20th year in
Really?
business.
Are you?
Yeah,
Congratulations. That is
thank
incredible.
you.
Happy What are you going to do for your 20th?
I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
I know that I've got to do something, but I haven't quite figured it out yet. So
Okay.
as soon as I figure it out, I will let you know.
Well, 20 is definitely a milestone, and you deserve to do something fun for yourself.
Yes, yes, definitely deserve to do something fun. I want to do something to celebrate with the team.
Okay.
I couldn't do what I do alone. I give full credit to the amazing team of marketing specialists that I have, and my amazing office manager, our amazing CFO. It's definitely a team effort here, much like I'm sure with your business, it's a team effort. You couldn't do
Yes,
it alone.
you can.
So I really want to honor them and make it something fun.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's worth
So
celebrating.
yes, definitely we're celebrating. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. How do you market Bite Me Catering?
Well, luckily, at almost every event, I have a great audience.
Oh, sure.
So word of mouth is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
I do a little bit of, of course, social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do a lot of partnerships with like maybe the Washington Center,
Mm.
one of their partners. So I do a lot of catering for them or the venues that I work with, the Lord Mansion, Capital City Barn, um, uh, the Hands on Children Museum. I have
Mm-hmm.
partnerships with those venues. So if you go there looking to have an event there, they'll say, here's a list. And I'm not an exclusive. There's other caterers that they recommend as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I have those kind of referrals. And then, Instagram and my website and Facebook.
Fantastic. So, how big of a role does social media play in your marketing? Is it something that you think is really helpful?
Um, because we're so local and I get so many guests that come through on other events.
Mm-hmm.
So people will say, I had your food 2 months ago and I'm gonna have something else.
Ah,
So that's 99% of my
sure.
marketing. Uh, I use the Instagram and the Facebook to kind of give a place or a, a backup to be like, no, I'm a real company. We're active all the time. We
Uh-huh.
post regularly. Might not be that good because I do it myself, but we're there. We're relevant. We do things, and of course our website.
Nice. Yes, of course. Website super important. And by the way,
Yeah,
what is your website address?
it's Bite Me Catering, pnw.com.
Okay, PNW for Pacific Northwest,
Right?
obviously.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, fantastic. And so I'm curious, having done this now for a few years, what advice would you have for other entrepreneurs?
You got to jump in both feet.
Hmm.
You have to respect those 2, 3 in the morning wake ups when you wake up and your squirrel mind is running as fast as it can. You have to like that part too.
Hmm.
Um, I love it. I love it all. I love you are the success. You're also the failure. If your team is not performing, it's you. You have to look at
Hmm.
yourself. You either have the wrong people on the wrong seat of the bus, classic business strategy,
Yeah.
or maybe you didn't train them correctly, or maybe you didn't communicate with them directly. So
Hmm.
you have to have a lot of security in what you're doing, a lot of love of what you're doing, and bring your team together. As you said, you can't do this by yourself. You need to bring
Yeah.
people in that can help because if you're successful, it gets bigger and bigger. It gets
Hmm.
stronger and stronger. And you can't do it all the time by yourself. And that's not
Yeah.
fair to you, your family. It's not even fair to your cat.
Right. Yes, absolutely. I think having done a lot of these interviews and talked with a lot of entrepreneurs, one of the topics that keeps coming up is to focus and do what it is you do best. Focus on your core strengths of your business, which for you obviously is catering. And
Right?
then, for me, marketing. And then everything else, outsource it to people that are expert in what they do. And I
Exactly.
think that's so important because, for me, when I started Three Girls Media, I knew obviously marketing really well. But then, 6 months in, when I had to hire my first team member, I didn't know anything about like how to do payroll, how to do HR, how to do taxes, all this stuff. I was like clueless, right? But I surrounded myself with the right people who knew how to do those things.
Yeah.
And that helped me ultimately succeed. And so, I think that's so important is, focus on what you do well and then outsource everything else, whether it's, marketing, taxes, bookkeeping, whatever,
Yeah.
and be smart about it.
Yeah. And you mentioned your business has been in business for 20 years. So think about the technology that has changed,
So
especially in
much.
marketing. Your business today is completely different than it was on the first year. There's no way
That's
that
right.
the evolution of that, you have to always be learning. I mean, I'd have to think that that's one of your skill sets is to always learn about new things.
100%. In the world of marketing, things change constantly. For example, when I first started 20 years ago, social media didn't even exist. There was no such thing. There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram or LinkedIn, or, it wasn't a thing. And so, I did other more traditional types of marketing. But then as social media became a thing, and then businesses realized that they could use it as a marketing tool, we obviously had to learn about that and learn how to do it. And then now, today, the current hot thing is AI and how to use AI in marketing and not have things sound like they're fake and done by a computer, and whatnot. So you're absolutely right. Things are constantly changing and there's constantly new things. And I think, almost in any business, regardless of your industry, it's important to stay up with the times and continuing education, whether it's something specific to your industry
Yeah.
or whether it's something specific just to business and taking a business course or a business workshop or a way, maybe a class on how to improve your skills as an entrepreneur, like maybe on public speaking or networking or whatever. I think as entrepreneurs, it's so important, to always continue on a growth trajectory, both personally and professionally.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is next for Bite Me Catering? What do you see happening in the next couple years?
Well, there's a location downtown Olympia. It's altitude 15, and Bite Me Catering is going to move into there. So we'll
Ah,
have a location downtown, and we're going to open a brick and mortar. We're taking a
really?
step this summer. We should. Now, it won't be called Bite Me Catering because that doesn't work for a restaurant bar kind of thing.
Sure, sure.
Um, but right now, the working name is Atlas.
Okay.
Atlas Food and Drink, and it's going to be in altitude 15, which is a culinary co-op and food hall going in right across from the transportation station.
Fantastic. That is so exciting. I'm
It's
so happy for
a
you.
little scary, but
Yes.
very exciting.
Yes, I imagine it's terrifying, but
Yeah,
I'm sure it's going to be a really, really wonderful adventure. And when do you anticipate opening, or do you know yet?
we don't know yet. There's still a lot of work to do. The building itself is still under construction. It has,
Mm.
so once we get a little further down the line, but I do anticipate that it would be opening this summer. So keep your eyes peeled.
Absolutely. And once you get a firm date, you're going to have to let me know
Oh,
so
for
I can
sure.
help promote that on social media for you and give you some shout outs.
That would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate that. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
and of course I've got to come and visit and come in for a meal.
Oh, I'll
Absolutely.
make you toast and butter, and then we'll have a lovely
And a
glass of
glass
red
of
wine
wine.
together.
Yes, yes, please. Absolutely. Count me in 100%. So, Cher, for those people that want to find you online, give us your
Uh-huh.
website address again.
Well, website is Bite Me Catering, pnw.com, but there's other ways to find me. I'm teaching classes. I have one a month between now and June with the SPSCC Adult Education.
Oh, okay.
I did my first one last month, and it was called Shark Week. And we went and I taught a little bit about charcuterie. It seems simple
Wonderful.
enough, but it's a wonderful class. We had a great time. Of course, it's over 21. It's a small class. The next one coming up is comfort foods, and we're going to work on. I'm going to make a comfort food plate, but we're actually going to work on plating techniques.
Oh,
So
I love it.
you could learn some things about how to make your different ways you can present things, how you can make your sauces neat, so it's just not a big pile. And another one is going to be focused on the Blue Zone diet. That's longevity diet that's
Mm-hmm.
very plant forward. So I have a class series there. I'm also doing, and I wish I could tell you the dates, but I'm doing 2 Thursday events at the Olympia Farmers Market. It's going to be lunches, and again, two kind of, we're not going to go deep into the culinary world or anything like that. But just have a nice time and maybe create some samples of, what is in season at the Fullerton or at the Olympia Farmers Market. What tastes good? How fresh are fresh peas? You
Oh,
know.
so good. And I love the Olympia's Farmers Market. It is so great. If you have not been to
Hmm.
the Olympia Farmers Market, it is one of the best farmers markets I have ever been to. It's
The
phenomenal.
produce is incredible. They have fresh fish. They have great meats. They have
Yes.
it's definitely worth it.
Baked goods, flowers, arts and crafts. Yeah,
And it's
it's
a beautiful
wonderful.
Sunday or it's a
It
beautiful
is.
Saturday. It's a great
Yeah,
location. Run across the street, grab that coffee, and go for a walk in the farmers market.
that's right. Absolutely. And where can people find out about all of these events that you're doing? Are they all on your website?
I wish I could say yes.
Okay.
I'll work on that.
Okay, yes, please work on that.
Yeah.
And then for the ones that are happening at South Puget Sound Community College, can
Uh,
those be found on the college website?
I believe if you Google SPSCC Adult Education, I'll be
Okay.
in that section.
Okay,
And then
phenomenal.
also Washington Women's Business Conference. They're doing an
Mhm.
Inspire program down at the Great Wolf Lodge on May
Mhm.
22nd. I'm going to be a speaker, 45 minutes if you want to learn. I'm doing a short program of, you mentioned my program, my experience of coming from CEO, CFO, and now
Yeah.
chef. So I'm making a presentation and it's called, a chef's Tales of a Chef in the Business World. And it actually should be of a business person in the chef world. But
Mhm.
really, it's the similarities. If you take like mise en place, which is everything in its place, it's prep everything. When you see all the carrots ready to go into the pot, they're already chopped, they're ready to go. And all of the
Mhm.
ingredients in your recipe are already prepped and ready to go. That's very much like Franklin Covey's begin with the end in mind philosophy
Mm.
on a bigger scale. In a kitchen, in a classic kitchen, there's a brigadier system, which is, you have your sous chef, you have your garde manger, you have your executive chef, you have your you have this hierarchy of who is where in the kitchen, and that's very similar to the people in the right seats on the bus.
Mhm.
And all of these things work together, and I see so much of in a kitchen, you are maybe having 5 people make the meals and it all comes out hot and it all comes out at the same time. And there's so much similarity to that as running a business. If you look at it through the lens of both a chef and a business person. So
Sure.
that talk is going to be a little bit more business focused and those kind of things. But really, it's just that beauty of things coming together and making things happen.
Phenomenal. Well, it sounds like you've got so much going on. Congratulations on that. And I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And I'm so excited to come and visit Atlas when it opens this summer.
Yeah, and thank you for the wonderful invitation. This is actually my first podcast, so thank you for that. This is one
Oh, well, you
I'm
did a
not
great
thinking at all.
job.
scary
Good.
at
I'm
all.
so glad. All right, Cher, you take care of yourself. And thanks again for being a wonderful guest.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, you too. Bye now.
Bye bye.